Okay. Well, anyway. Aloha nui, my name is Kuulei. I think if you folks were here earlier, you heard me open the space. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay, awesome. Aloha, Dr. Adam and Mai and Irene and Louise and Mele. I've heard of some of you. I've heard of your names, but it's good to see your faces in this space. I'm presenting on the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola. Anyone ever heard of the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola? Raise your hand. Not to some people. Okay, one people. Maikai, I'm gonna just talk about it and we'll learn about it today. Does anybody have any questions about the opening before we begin? There was like any thoughts about the opening? Let me get like 1 to 2 volunteers to lend some manao about the way that we opened with protocol today.
Aloha Kuulei, o Kawika kia.
Aloha Kawika, aloha oi, o Kuulei. Yeah.
That was the most amazing opening in any conference I've attended.
Oh wow! I imagine you've been to a lot of conferences.
I have. Not just you down to earth and making us comfortable, but that whole understanding of putting ourselves in the right space. Just beautiful. Mahalo.
Mahalo ya oi. That means a lot to me. Because I don't know a lot of people that open space like that, so it's a little bit uncomfortable, and I just don't know if anybody is like, you're crazy, just get to the point, or if it's helpful. So the feedback is more for me. Sharon, were you gonna unmute yourself to lend someone out?
I was, thank you. I loved how you got all of us involved, to Kumomo, to Hawaii Kaika. That really stood out for me. So mahalo for bringing us all together into the space and the manao for today.
Oh yeah, no, mahalo.
That was awesome.
Okay, yeah, I know. We can have more. Not only 2 gotta be. Who said that?
That was awesome. This is Louise from Molokai.
Oh, Molokai,
Maikai, mahalo.
Awesome. Mahalo for joining us from all the way over there. Very good. I love this, and I can see your manao in the chat. That helps me because I was really nervous kind of going into this space. So I feel really grateful for your manao. I'm glad that this is helpful and that this is an effective way to open space. Anyway, this is just an extension of that. So we're learning about the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola, that same intention of safety that exists here as well. So ideally all throughout the conference, but that just goes without saying generally. So let me see. Okay. You can see this. You see my slides, or?
Yes, we can see them. Okay.
I was like, or all the apps on my messy desktop. Which one are you
No,
looking at?
no. The presentation is good.
Okay, Maikai,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, very good. I'm going to just do this so I can see all you folks at the same time. Okay, so the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola. Let's unmute ourselves and try to say that long word. Kumu Honua Mauli Ola.
Kumu Honua
Mauli Ola.
Oh yeah, no, mahalo. It's a really powerful thing to hear everybody's voice at the same time, because we're in all different spaces of the whole wide world. So mahalo for joining me in that process. My name is Kuulei Perreira-Keawekane. I come from Panaewa, Hawaiʻi. And my email address is just right under my name. You know, it's so funny because I went to this conference recently and I keep this name tag in my desk. This one right here. Oh, you can. Yeah, so you see these things under here. They were giving these I shared my slide and I keep talking. Anyway, they gave me these flag things, but these for everybody else said like MD, practitioner, nurse practitioner, social worker. And so I walked up to the lady and she goes, "Oh, hello." And I was like, "Hi." And she gave me this name tag without any flags on top. And I said, "Oh, what are those? Can I have one of those?" And she's like, "Okay, what are you?" And I was like, Hawaiian. I was like, I'm just Hawaii, but do you have any for that? And she was like she looked really confused and almost embarrassed because they didn't have a way to recognize Aboriginal people in the space as people of value in their space. So she was like, "Oh," and that really was the way that I embodied that, not fill it out in the, well, yeah, fill it out in the evaluation too, but you embody that, and sometimes that involves making people uncomfortable to teach them, not in a scary way or in a like a weird prideful high maka way, but just to teach people like, hey, you gotta have one. So she's like, oh, actually I do, I have this Hawaii Island one. I was like, yes, thank you very much. And then she said, look, I also have this VIP one for you. And I said, yes, that's the appropriate one. That's the one that I was looking for. So anyway, just and then I think I asked, somebody asked me today, oh, I called because I couldn't get into the Zoom. So I called the Hawaii Kaika Partnerships office, and the lady was like, the receptionist, she was like, oh, okay, I'll give her the message, and what's your name? And I said, oh, I'm Kuulei. And she said, who are you with? And I'm like, currently my 60 pigs outside, but because I don't have, for real, I'm not even part of, I mean, I work for a different lab separately from this work, but I'm just Hawaiian, like I'm just Hawaii. So I don't have like a cultural consultancy business. I mean, I do some of those things, side work stuff, but I'm just Hawaiian. And so I'm grateful, and that's who I am, you know. So that's how people put their photo and their bio. But I was just letting you guys know I'm just Hawaiian. My dad is a pig farmer. We come from Panaewa, and that's it. That's it. So when you registered for this class, you can still see my screen. Okay. When you registered for this session, there was these questions. Or somewhere on the website, there was these questions to kind of help people understand what this category of session would be, and we're gonna eventually end up answering those in our time together. But first, let us take a pre-poll. I'm gonna ask Vailana to please go ahead and launch them. Launch the pre-poll, and then we'll just kind of go from there. Somebody remind me to screenshot the results because I'm gonna forget. So yes, my kai law.
Can see them?
Yep, can you folks
Okay.
see it?
Perfect.
Okay, very good. If you cannot see it, then you cannot take it. Maybe you're on your phone or something, but hopefully you can see it. You folks can see the survey, or okay, meanwhile, I'm gonna play this song for you folks. This song is called There Goes My Hiloe. I wrote this song. Wait, nobody is, oh yeah, because it's plenty questions I asked. I was like, nobody's submitting. Like, we're working on it. Okay, here you go. This song talks about a family of lobsters walking on 2 feet. They weren't actual lobsters. They're just people that spent a little too long in the sun. Anyway, this is a song I wrote called There Goes My Hiloe. So I took a trip all the way down to still be of my little town, and I went with a group of my friends. Oh yeah, the walking and the talking never really truly ended. See, we started out on our trek down the street. Papaya farm bee, keeping honey from with me. Coconut bread, $1.50, oh so sweet. I said, hey, kilo. Road I see a few lobsters walking on 2 feet. We ask where they're from, and they joyfully say Wisconsin and Illinois of the USA. I said, hey, kilo. Road I see a host familiar. A sample of lotion to try. She says, peacocky for the ladies, coconut oil for the guys. I said, hey, there goes my kilo. I said, road I see. I brother from Manila, Philippines. We asked him about his story, and his story unfolds. And then we all trip out. He's 85 years old. We said, hey, there goes Hilo. My story be told about a group of funny locals round them downtown road. So we met a lot of people from all over the place. Different skin color, but the same human race. I said, hey, there goes Hilo. I said, hey, there goes Hilo. Thank you. That was an original. You can only hear it here. I didn't record it yet. So I guess you could revisit the recording because it'll be there. Anyway, 23 of 26 of us took the poll. I imagine that some of us came in late. Looking at the results, and it's looking like we got a lot to learn here. So that's very good, very good. Super cool. I love this. I love this. I love this. Okay, I think is anybody need me to wait for you to finish? How you guys like my song? There goes my hilo eh. That's an old thing, you know, writing songs about your place. Oh yeah, more people are submitting. We just have one more person. I'll just wait a little while longer to publish the results of the poll. And we're going to learn about these things. No worries if you don't know. Yeah, Hawaii people, we write chants about our place. You know, like nakahau mau na ke aku uni o, nakeahi mau na loa ku umole, huala lai muli kuahivi. Like there's these chants. Kunihi kamauna I kala ie o vai ale la I wailua, you know, and then there's all these place names. So there goes my hilo is a version of that, of those chants that I shared. Anyway, okay, I think we're gonna go ahead. 96% of you did the thing. So let's go ahead and end the poll and share the results. Okay, so are you folks looking at the results? Okay,
Yes.
great. Now I'm gonna screenshot what you guys said, because then we will learn what you guys learn. Okay, so these are the answers. And then, okay, everybody, my kai, you see the answers? You gotta, don't remember the numbers, the letters of the answers and cheat now. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, that was a good.
Where are the answers? Sorry.
Oh, you never see. Okay, wait. Share results. Can you see it now? Sorry, you guys wasn't looking at the.
I don't know if it shows them the correct answer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel? Oh, you just only saw that you got. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll learn the answers as we go. Wait, am I still sharing my screen? Okay, very good. I'll just tell you. So Mauli Ola, the answer to that, you had indigenous health, the name of a Hawaiian island, the name of a native bird, or A and B. The correct answer is A and B. The word Mauli Ola means indigenous health, and it's the name of a Hawaiian island. It's Sand Island, actually, but that also is a Hawaiian island. So Sand Island's old name is Mauli Ola. Can we unmute ourselves and say Mauli Ola?
Mauli
Ola.
Mauli Ola. That's also the name of one of our deities, a Hawaii deity. The Kumu Honua Mauli Ola. The word Kumu means teacher, but I don't know any teachers with the name Honua Mauli Ola. Also, I think a lot of you guessed that the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola is an educational philosophy statement. But also, my friend Ika Kamai, who plays with Kaikana Scanlon, released this song, and it goes, Kumu Honua Mauli Ola. You see it on the screen? That you see that Apple Music thing on the screen where it says Kumu Honua Mauli Ola with the lama on top. It's also a cool reggae song, which was one of the options that you could have chose. So the answer, I know, I took a picture. I was like, "Wow, these guys are gonna get this one wrong. I just know they're gonna think it's not like what a crazy answer, reggae." No, that was the right answer. Okay, what are the three piko? The navel, the hands, and the feet. The navel, the eyes, and the mouth. Or E, O, and A. The correct answer is E, O, and A. Piko, E, O, and A. We'll learn more about that. What are the four components of Mauli Ola? Kanaka, ʻāina, akua, pilina, pili ohane, olelo, lavena, ike ku'una, moana, maui, lilo, and stitch, which thank God nobody chose that one because I was like, I'm going to just end this whole conference if, if anybody chose that one. Or A and B. So the correct answer is B. Pili uhane, olelo, lavena, and ike ku'una. Those are the four components of Mauli Ola. What are three of the five protective factors? We have a number of things there, one which included cooking and baking. And while that may be nice to do with your keiki, that was not the correct answer. The correct answer is parental resilience, social connections, concrete support in times of need. Okay, cool. Mahalo. Mahalo for telling me that you don't get to see the correct answer anyway, because then we could go over it. Okay, so today we're talking about the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola, which, like I said, is an educational philosophy statement. We're talking about the different things that that philosophy statement teaches us, and then we're looking at the protective factors. I'm going to upload this presentation to the SCED platform. Like, I'm not scared to upload my presentation to SCED. Okay. Anyway, the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola is linked. So if you click it, the entire PDF will open. And if you can see, it's 100% in Hawaiian. And English is just like literally the last. It's just one of many translations. So it's not even the first translation. It's the last translation. So this is a Hawaiian language document that is explained in each of the languages. And so this is the PDF of the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola. Vai, can you put that link in the chat too, in case nobody ever gets around to coming back to the SCED?
The one that you just shared?
Oh yeah, you don't have it. Okay, I'm just gonna put it in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Into the chat you go. Everyone in meeting. Yeah, there we go. So that's the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola. This is the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola song. Where did it go? Maybe it's linked over here. So I'm gonna put the link to this so you can jam this awesome cool reggae song. Can you folks see my screen still? Okay, yeah, very good. And then I'm just moving along here. Okay, and this is a document on protective factors, which I used to learn about protective factors. Put this also in the chat. Okay, my kai. Now we're all on the same page or equipped. Okay, so let's move into the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola. The Kumu Honua Mauli Ola helps us to understand that the health and wellness of a child, of a system, of a family, of an educational institution has to do with the wellness of a person's cultural identity. So even though the context of this information is Hawaiian, if you're in Ireland, you can apply the same idea to Irish culture, or to French culture, or to I want to say even like Maori culture or Tongan culture. It's a framework on culture and the role of culture in health and wellness. So the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola talks about Mauli Ola. Can we all unmute ourselves and say Mauli Ola?
Mauli Ola.
Mauli Ola.
Mauli.
Oh yeah, no, mahalo. Mauli Ola, Mauli is different than Maoli. For some people who are Hawaiian, when we chant, we feel something in our maoli, especially if we're not used to chanting. When we say our name, like instead of Kaiulani, when we say Kaiulani, when we learn how to pronounce our names the way that Kupuna pronounce our names, it activates our maoli. It like feels like, oh, what is this feeling? Like, oh, I feel fired up. I gotta ku'i kalo. I gotta learn how to be Hawaiian. That thing that we feel is our maoli. And that is a similar effect when American people who are actually Irish, who come from the Gaelic, like when they learn things about their home culture, their root culture, their maoli is ignited. Similar for people in general. So not just Hawaii's, but that's what maoli is. So Mauli Ola is when that sense of identity, I have chicken skin. I'm just giving myself chicken skin right now. But it's when our sense of identity is alive and well. And so that is Mauli Ola. Dr. Kaholokula, who is a good friend and cousin of mine, he wrote this framework on Native Hawaiian health, pathways to optimal health and well-being for Native Hawaiians. That's also linked here. But we can see also the Vehe Vehe dictionary definitions of the word Mauli Ola. Breath of life. Dr. Keynote speaker. I forget what his name is, but he talked about that, about the breath of life, the power of healing. You know, Mauli Ola also we see is same as Sand Island, or the name of a deity of health. And also it's a place name at Kilauea volcano. So there's lots of applications. Yes, Dr. Kimo Alameda, mahalo Deb. And actually, I think Dr. Kimo and Dr. Kaholokula are friends. I think they're good friends. So it'd be cool to check this out. This is linked here. So the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola tells us that Mauli Ola, or the essence of our cultural identity, or us as humans feeling safe and ignited as culture bearers, has to do with these 4 specific concepts. The first concept is the Ao Pili Uhane, or spirituality and ceremony. You can see that in figure 1 with Kumuhiapo in his kihei in the yellow, the kihei o lena lena, that yellow. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see that Kumu in the kihei? So that is an example of the Pili Uhane. All of those children, they're in a ceremony. They're conducting a ceremony, and this tita is drinking from a coconut. But this is a Hawaii ceremony. So this will look different for different cultures, but same idea. The Ao Olelo is described and depicted in number 2, which is that keiki sitting in front of this old archaic computer. Just kidding. I used to have those when I was young. Anyway, that is, she's learning how to spell in Hawaiian. So that is the Ao Olelo, or the language and the worldview. The Ao Lavena, you can see those littles, they're holding lei in item number 3. Our ability to embody our own customs and behaviors. Dr. Kimo is talking about these ways of being that his mom taught him, or like things that's just how we're Hawaiian, that are not well known or well accepted or even heard of in the culture that we live in now, or in the local culture, or in the cultures abroad. But yeah, that is the Ao Lavena, being able to embody our customs and behavior. And the Ao Ike Ku'una is about the traditional knowledge. So this is hula. You can see it in the hula. But also lei making, food prep, like imu, or wrapping lau lau, or somebody give me another example of a traditional something that we might do.
Picking opihi.
Picking opihi. Oh yeah, no, that is absolutely traditional knowledge. And so when we're thinking about protective factors, we're not inclined to think about opihi, or uhu, or a'ama, or olelo Hawaii, or hula, or pule. Sometimes we're not inclined to think about those things, but that's what it is. In order for us to provide a safe space to protect our keiki, to strengthen them, and to help them to be resilient in their emotional and social connections, they have to have a strong sense of self. And that strong sense of self has to come from their strong sense of identity that we have to, as makua, as parents, teach them. And if we don't know these things, we can't teach these things, yeah? So this presentation is helping us to learn what we need to do to support keiki, whether they're Hawaiian or not. Because also, if they're not Hawaiian, but they live in Hawaii, it would be wise to teach them the culture of their place. And so these are just some examples of how protective factors and culture intertwine in this space. So anybody have any questions or thoughts before we continue? Did I lose anybody here? Because I don't know. I just want to make sure. Mai kai, are you mai kai? Okay. Here we go. Mahalo, because Opihi sounds real good right about now. Anyway, I also want to say I took these images from the PDF. So I didn't take these pictures. I probably wasn't actually born yet when these things came out. but this comes from the PDF. So if you're interested in learning more about what I'm talking about, it's written in a publication. This presentation is based on that. So o ka pule mau he la'ana ia o ka au pili uhane. Consistent prayer. And not only Christian prayer, but consistent prayer, whatever that looks like for your ohana. That is an indicator of a really healthy limb that is the au pili uhane. Can we all unmute ourselves and say pili uhane?
Pili
Pili
uhane.
uhane.
Pili uhane. Or the closeness of the spirit. That's what that might translate to, pili uhane. The au olelo. Can we all unmute ourselves and say olelo?
Olelo.
The word olelo comes from the word alelo, which we all have. We all have alelo. Alelo, it means tongue. Ideally, we all have alelo. But so au olelo, o ka ha'i olelo makapapahana puka kula he la'ana ia o ka au olelo. The speeches. So when students, so in Hawaii and in Hawaii spaces of education, when students graduate, they have to give a speech. And they're trained to give speeches based on their mo'oku'auhau or their genealogy, who they come from and where they come from. That is an example of the worldview piece. So it's not just a speech to thank their families for coming or to thank everyone for, no, the au olelo is a worldview. It's not just the words you use, the words you learn. It's the way that you think. It's the way those old words are informed by old cultural norms, or cultural pieces of identity that are built into the framework of how we think. So the au olelo is related to, okay, everybody. The au olelo is related to A, kayaking, B, language, C, fun factory, or D, Lilo and Stitch. Somebody better answer.
Definitely Lilo and Stitch.
Excuse me, moderator, please have no, just kidding. If you guess language, you're correct. The au olelo is referring to the piece of language. Yeah. The au lavena. Can we all unmute ourselves and say lavena?
Avena.
The au lavena, lavena, it means behavior. So the way that children behave, sure, but that's not a good, lavena translates to behavior, but that's not a good representation of that concept. Lave means to take. And so like children, like Dr. Alameda was saying, children take things with them, and the things they take are the things they're given. And so the people in this cohort of students, what they're doing right now is ho'okipa malihini. Do you guys know the word malihini? Malihini, it means guest or visitor. So in some contexts, malihini are people that are not from Hawaii, not from the state of Hawaii or the archipelago of Hawaii. But I don't think what people realize is that malihini are also people. If I was to go to Molokai and see Auntie Louise, I would be a malihini. Like even though so Molokai is not like all of Hawaii, I am kama'aina to all of Hawaii. That's not the old way of thinking. I am a malihini if I go to Molokai, which is a different island. I am a malihini if I go to Kona, which is a different moku on my own island. I am a malihini if I go to Keokaha, which is a different community in my island, in my ahupua'a, in my small. If I go to your house, I am a malihini. So I'm not kama'aina anywhere except my own immediate space, you know? So it's interesting to learn about those things, but that's an example of olelo and how when we don't have the cultural worldview, we misuse words even. But anyway, back to the ʻaoʻao lavena. The ho'okipa malihini is a la'ana o ka ʻaoʻao lavena. It's a Hawaii thing to welcome visitors. I think it's also a Hawaii thing to kick them out when they start ruining your house. But anyway, the ho'okipa malihina is a ho'okipa malihini o ka ho'okipa malihini he la'ana ia o ka ʻaoʻao lavena. What is another thing besides ho'okipa malihini that is a really Hawaiian custom or Japanese custom or any other custom that you might be familiar with? For Hawaii's okay, welcoming guests. What is another like cultural custom that you know of?
Sharing food.
Sharing food. Yeah, sharing food. That's a Hawaii custom. And not every culture has that same custom, you know. But to consider those things based on where you are is a really important thing. Yeah, Maikai. Okay. You know the word ku'una? It sounds really close to the word kupuna. But it's not the same. The ku'una is almost like that of the ancestor. And so the ʻaoʻao ike ku'una has to do with the traditions. So like Auntie said, picking opihi, that is a really old Hawaii way of being. That is an old Hawaii practice. Lawai'a, kiloi upena, or fishing, a particular style of fishing, or throwing net, or hu'ikalo, kanikapila, that's also a thing. That's a cultural practice. And so the ʻaoʻao ike ku'una in this photo, this is a lei hulu. Everyone, shoot me a shaka if you ever heard of or seen a lei hulu. Okay, hulu, it means feather, and a lei hulu is a lei with hundreds of individually lashed feathers lashed onto a particular rope. And so o ka haku lei hulu he la'ana ia o ka ʻaoʻao ike ku'una. The composing of a lei of feathers is an example of the ike ku'una. Our children nowadays, because we are working our way back to remembering our traditions, they do other things with their time. And they learn other things with their time, and they see other things with their time, because we have yet to maintain our ʻaoʻao ike ku'una. You know, so these are all the things that the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola teaches us about. Vailana, how much time do we have left? She's like 30 seconds.
We have about 20 minutes until the
20
end of the
minutes.
session. Yeah.
Okay, Maikai.
I'll give you the 10-minute mark though before it ends. Yeah.
Okay, Maikai. Okay, this next, I just want to pause. Can I get one person to tell me how we're doing? Maybe temperature check. I mean, unmute yourself and tell me your mana'o about how we're doing so far.
Maikai.
Maikai. Am I losing anyone? Because this can be a whole curriculum module all on its own. Just what I just presented. And I think for some people, it's like, phew, that was so much mana, but they don't know, they didn't retain anything I was saying. So I want to know if you folks are able to kind of follow along and retain some of these things, maybe with a thumbs up or.
I'm glad you have the slides available for us to review later.
Yes, mahalo. I will be posting that. Yeah, Maikai. That's helpful feedback. Yeah. Okay, because I'm like fire hose. Like when people ask for water, they usually mean like a cup of water, not to blast you with a fire hose. And that's what I'm doing right now. Like, but this is blasting you with the fire hose of the Ike Kupuna, the ancestral knowledge. So here we go. Okay, moving on to the Piko e Kolu o ke kanaka. There are 3 central portals of connection for the person, for the human, attached to the human body. The Piko E is here. Can everyone please put your head on your Piko E? This thank you. You can put your hands down. Yes. The Piko E is the fontanelle, or that soft spot of your head where it was soft when you're a baby. I don't know if you folks know that, but there's like this little soft spot on babies' heads that is like really, really soft when they're a kid, when they're babies just born. It's like if you poke it too hard, the kid will like, there'll be like it's like really a soft spot on their head. That is the Piko E. And so Hawaii people believe that when keiki are younger, and I think this is true across cultures, when keiki are younger, when children are babies, this fontanelle is so fresh and new and uncalcified that the veil between the human realm and the spirit realm is very thin. So babies see kupuna. Babies hear kupuna. Babies know things deeper than what we really give them credit for knowing in the Euro-American worldview. But so your Piko E is your fontanelle, and it connects you to spirit. So some people do the Holy Spirit and the Jesus and the Jehovah God thing. Some people do the Buddha thing. Some people do the Pele Lono Kane Kanaloa thing. Some people do the universe thing. Your relationship to all the things I just named happens in your Piko E, which is here. We have a Piko O. Can everyone place your hand over your stomach, over your belly, just at your like your umbilical? I don't know. It's just your Piko. I don't know how to even say that word. But anyway, your actual Piko. Okay, thank you. Your Piko O is actually a once upon a time, your Piko O was attached to a rope, and that rope was biologically attached to your mother. And that mother who birthed you inside of her womb. And that birthing was a sacred old process. But your mother was also born in that way. Well, she was also created in that way. And then her mother also, because that's how humans, that's how they give, that's how they, they make it. It's the DIY thing where they make it on the inside and then it comes out, But for people, our Piko O connects us to our families. So in the number 1, you can see that this is a ceremonial dance that is called the hula. Number 2, you can see this family picture. So you see this baby in the picture in the number 2. This is all the people related to her Piko O. So she has to keep these relations strong in her life. She also has to keep the number 1 relation strong in her life. And then we see the 3, the number 3, and if everyone can place your hand in your lap. Our genitalia, from a Hawaii worldview, is another portal of connection. And that portal of connection connects us to our future generations. Some of us are not able to bear children, but we see them every day. We see the babies in the KTAs, in the Times supermarkets, in the wherever you folks have on Maui and Molokai. We see the babies all around, and that is a relationship we have to maintain. Is our aloha for babies, and so this is na Piko e Kolu o ke kanaka. You see all these young people, these young little children in here. That's the Piko O, the Piko A. But Okay, again, fire hose, but no worries. There'll be a recording and there'll be slides that you can follow in another time and space. Okay. Na honua e kolu o ka Mauli Ola. This teaches us about space, about educational space, but about Hawaiian space or cultural space. these values are not always maintained in each worldview, particularly the American worldview. I think our relationships from a Hawaii perspective, our relationships to each other, to our families, to our communities, and to the outside world are very, very close, and very emotional and spiritually connected. And so the Honua Ieve, can we unmute ourselves and say the word Ieve?
Ieve.
Ieve. Ieve is the word for placenta. But do you see image number 1? That is the Honua Ieve, the universe or the world where that child is being introduced to the world. And so yes, in the womb, but also in the closeness of the closed off family, the protected family unit. That is the Honua Ieve. And when children are raised with the values and the customs that I spoke about earlier in this presentation, pa'aia, it's secure and solid in the Honua Ieve. So that when children puka into the kipuka, when they exit the Honua Ieve, which is the safety of the womb or the family or the home, they're solid in who they are. They know their customs, they know their values, and they were trained from the womb to be Hawaii or to be culture bearers. And so when they exit into the kipuka, they are able to contribute to a safety of a community with shared values and a strong sense of cultural identity. So you can see that this is a Pua Noeau. So the children that we were watching in the opening video, this is another one of those classrooms from that educational institution where all of these children are learning how to be Hawaii and speak Hawaii and do Hawaii and embody Hawaii in the way that Dr. Alameda explained it to us, the ha and the vai and the e. And then when those children feel strong and culturally sure, I'm sure of who I am. It's okay, whatever you feel, that's okay, because I'm sure of who I am. You know, that concept. When the children go out and experience the rest of the world, ideally, they won't be trying to fight other people. They won't be trying to fight other people for their place, for their culture, because they come from an abundance of it. So when people who are from a Hawaii, from that Honua Ieve, Honua Kipuka, and Honua Auholo Oko'a, they're sturdy and they know their foundation. And so it becomes less about, oh, that haole guy, or like whatever, he just sold this and that, or like it's just really emotionally triggering a lot of things where Hawaii culture is not abundant. Well, we already have that abundance, so we don't have to fight for it, you know, in the outside world. So I'm just explaining these different perspectives on the raising children in immersive spaces. Okay, I'm gonna by where we at time?
About 10 minutes.
My God. Okay, we're gonna just talk about these protective factors in a little bit, but I just wanna generally recap that the Kumu Honua Mauli Ola and the concept of Mauli Ola helps us to seamlessly weave in the importance of cultural immersion in being raised and then raising children in that way. It helps us to seamlessly relate that to these protective factors that we see here. So parental resilience, social connections, concrete support in times of need, knowledge of parenting and child development, and social and emotional competence of children. Oh, I think Dr. Adam, do you have a question?
I did, just when you have a second, if you get one.
Yeah, I have a second.
What kind of ways are there for someone, especially like, you know, when we were talking earlier about, you know, helping parents and strengthening parents, you know, as protective ways to protect future kids, but are there ways for helping someone return to their native ways and their culture when they were not raised in it, or taken out of it?
I love that question. Thank you, Dr. Coles. Yes, that involves us as practitioners and providers and community members knowing the culture, honoring the culture, learning more about the language and the worldview. Because that's the end slide. There's no end slide, but that's the end slide call to action. So we spent all this hour or however long talking about the importance of cultural immersion. And all of us obviously don't get the opportunity sometimes to be raised in a culturally immersive space. But ideally, this information and this presentation sparks something within you to recognize, okay, now I gotta learn. Now I have to know how to pronounce these children's names. Now I have to learn what their names mean, what their last names mean. And then I have to be able to tell them if they don't know. And then that has to be the kinds of conversations that I have with them often. And then I have to learn about their history. And then I have to learn about about how the ways they're acting and behaving relates to their history, relates to the historical trauma that they likely experience in their genealogy that they've inherited. So so Dr. Coles, your question about how do we help children who have not been, or even adults, or even parents, or even people, we learn more about Hawaiʻi. That's all, but that's all. We just have to have this ardent commitment to staying open to want to learn more so that we can contribute to the ao holoʻokoʻa, to that larger universe of people that are engaging, because right now it's a pretty scary place to be. And so if each one of us today just commit to learning more about Aboriginal Hawaiʻi ways, or indigenous ways, or for people who live in I like to use Gaelic because or Greek or any culture. If you commit yourself to learning deeply about the culture, it'll help you as you work with the people. Just that. It's a simple concept, that I feel grateful to be able to spend 1 whole hour talking to you about. Because I could have just told you that, but I needed you to see these images. And I needed you to hear these words and say these words with me, so basically that. But I wanted to actually open this just to conclude. Parental resilience, because actually I have no singular idea before this day what a protective factor was. I was like, sure, I can do a presentation on that as soon as I figure out what it is. So parental resilience. No one can eliminate stress from parenting, but a parent's capacity for resilience can affect how a parent deals with stress. And so there has to actually involve systems change. In order for parents to be less stressed out, they have to be able to to be able to provide for their families. And I think that's what some of these things talk about. And you can read the PDF, but social connections, we literally saw in the images that we went over how social connections are made in immersive spaces, how parental resilience is formed, because of the community relationship. We saw the photos of it. How concrete support in times of need is lent to children. When you have such a tight family, such a close family unit per the ʻaoʻao Lavena and the ʻaoʻao Piliʻuhane and the Piko I O and A, when all of those things are ignited, we have these things. We have concrete support in times of need. It's each other. It's our kupuna who passed. It's our chants. It's our dance. It's our practices of making lei. All of these things are involved in the system that is these concrete supports in the time of need. Knowledge of parenting and child development. When we're close to the information, the cultural and ancestral information of how our kupuna, not our recent parents and their cultural trauma, not that kind. the older kupuna who farmed and a lot of those kids in the video we watched earlier from Kamehameha schools, all of those folks, all of those things they wanted to be, those ways, growing our food and singing and saving the world and being whatever the close to the earth, that those cultural pieces of truth help us to address also the social and emotional competence of children. And so I'm going to stop sharing because I think I have like 30 more seconds or something like that. I wanted to leave space for a Q&A. I wanted to leave space for the poll. But let's just go ahead and how many time? Hello. How much time do we have left, Bailana?
About 4 minutes, and then they have a 10-minute break after until
Okay.
the next session. Yeah.
Okay, my kai. So let's go ahead and launch this poll. And while you're taking the poll, we'll do a Q&A. Oh, wow. Wow, we're just on it today. We're just on it. Okay, yeah. Can you launch the poll? Bye. And then and thank you, Dr. Coles, for that question. That really allowed me to kind of tie all the things together for us in a short amount of time. But
Thank you. Yeah. A mentor of mine called that kind of always trying to come to things with a child's mind, because they're always learning and learning and learning, which I really like.
I really like that too. I think that's a really important part that people miss out on because of pride, but also because of the thing that we kind of tried to work to get rid of in the beginning of our time together today, which is that face, that professional face. People feel like they have to fit into a particular box. And I think sometimes that's why they don't come in to spaces with childlike minds, because they learn to be guarded and jaded. And so I think also to open spaces more like how we open today, any meetings, you know, any space that we engage in, to feel safe to engage with ourselves, to be encouraged to engage as our people, you know, and to want to learn more, to want to be growing, you know. I really mahalo that.
Kuulei, one thing I think is important. How are you, hon?
Hi, good to see you. I didn't know you're in here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I was hiding. No, one thing that's been important for me working with the children, you know, at risk or suffering from abuse and neglect was knowing when to bring in the cultural component. I'm a foster parent, and Louise knows from Molokai that I have had multiple children from Molokai. And the first thing I do is get a Hawaiian mentor, because of the culture shock they're going to go through coming into a home with two old haole guys, you know. So I think it's knowing that if you are serving, when that it's important that you do bring someone in that can add a cultural component.
Gonna have to agree with you there. I have to agree with you on that one. Thanks, Paul. Amazing. And thank you for your good work in helping to care for our keiki. Appreciate you. Yeah, my kai. I never even looked at the chat. Yes. My kai, I feel like we're doing well. I feel like we're doing well. And I feel like I was able to share all the things I wanted to share. I'm going to put my email address in the chat if anybody is interested in keeping in touch with me. I also am a musician, actually, like an actual musician. So aside from a farmer, that's what I do too. I'm on Instagram at Kuulei Music, so you can follow me there and we can keep in touch. Kuulei Music. Yes. And so how many more minutes do we have now?
We're actually right on time. So
Okay.
we're good. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and continue to read the chat, but I want to just open just one more opportunity for people to ask questions or share mana'o. Anyone?
I guess more kai mana'o.
Yes, e mana'o mai.
Aloha. So while you were talking and sharing about cultural practices, it made me a little kaumaha, made me sad, because I never had these opportunities as a keiki growing up in Hawaii. And just like Kumu Alameda said, talked about skin tone. My Hawaiian tutu told me, oh, you get good skin color. You fine, you're gonna be fine. You get good skin color for an Hawaiian. And it was tough. You know, I never grew up knowing about my culture. And there's a lot that I learned as an adult about historical trauma, cultural trauma. And a lot of us Hawaiians have that. And even now as an adult, learning about my culture, sometimes we get glimmers of hope. Yeah, we're still learning, get plenty that are encouraging us. But there are some Hawaiians out there who are still, oh, you're not Hawaiian enough. You'll never learn to speak fluent Hawaiian. Oh, you learn as an adult. Oh, no get chance. Why are you learning Hawaiian for? Your pronunciation all wrong. Your puana all wrong. And I'm like, guys, what are you doing? So even within our culture, we get plenty work for do. So much hana is left to do. Lots of parental resilience to be growing up and lots of wrongs to be made right. Yeah. So just small kind. Just wanted to throw that out there.
That is big kind, that is big kind of work, because I think that is the depth. That is the depth. And I think the reason or what happens when we don't have these cultural experiences is that narrative of you're not Hawaiian enough, or oh, haole girl, because some people said like it's a good thing to have a light skin tone. But now in this era, we're teased because we have lighter skin and we're supposed to be Hawaiian. Or if you don't eat vana, what kind Hawaiian you know? So I agree, we have a lot to work on in getting back to the truth of what we come from and the truth of what we are, which is older than those perspectives. You know, so I really am just holding space. And mahalo for bringing the depth of this conversation to a T, Tita, because that's the truth of where we're at right now, is that it's a lot harder than I just blasted you out with this good information, but it's really hard. It's not an easy conversation to have because these things are not in place. And I think that was a general point too, you know, is that that's the reason, because if you look at the disparity rates, Hawaii people are like highest incarcerated, highest on blood pressure medication, highest on metformin, highest on dialysis, highest in the jail system, we're highest in all of these things. So I think slow steps back to the truth, back to the old ways that we come from when it comes to aloha and malama and kuleana and kokua. We'll get there. And iku mau mau, that's kind of part of the closing, because I'm going to close us out today, but we gotta link in to each other, who are makaukau and who are ready to take these steps toward the good. And we got to stay close together so that we don't end up in scary spaces like that you were talking about, because it's rough. But yes, mahalo kako. I think 26 of us were able to answer the poll. And I'm going to share these results. A lot more of us got question 1 correct. Yes, A and B, Indigenous health and the name of a Hawaiian island. The Kumu, Honua, Mauli Ola is correct, B and C. The 3 piko is E, O, and A. The 4 components of Mauli Ola have to do with uhane, olelo, lavena, ikeku'una. And some of us love baking, but the others of us know that the 3 other protective factors. But it's not wrong. None of it is wrong. All of this is correct, and we all did really well. And so mahalo everyone for joining me. I hope that we can keep in touch in other spaces. Thank you, Dr. Coles. For those of us who feel really scared because of the things that I talked about today, or if you're also in a space where Maya's, we can keep talking story, email me and we'll open up some space to unpack some of those things. But
Mahalo ku'ulei.
Yeah, mahalo nui, mahalo piha vai. Sorry, I think you're supposed to be saying something and I just keep yapping. So
No, it's all good. We're right on time. Thank you guys, everyone, for joining. I know we're a little bit like 5 minutes and you guys had a break in between then, but if anyone has no other questions, then we'll go ahead and close it up.
Yeah. Mahalo kako. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you at the end part where we iku mau mau out of here.
Mahalo.
Mahalo kako. Ahuiho. Malama.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.